You're watching Talking Points, a focus on the political scene in Lubbock and across the South Plains.
Welcome back. Here's a look at some of the political headlines of the past week. A bill written in honor of Lubbock State District Judge has passed the State House. The Judge Ruben Reyes Act will dedicate money to specialty courts across the state. Representative Dustin Burrows co-authored the bill and reminded us that Judge Reyes did great things with Lubbock County's drug court before he passed from COVID complications last December. And Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn is joined with Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar on a new bipartisan bill to help with the situation at the Mexico border. Cornyn says the number of migrant children arriving at the border has overwhelmed Border Patrol agents and the holding facilities they use. So the bill would create 4 new regional processing centers, pay for more immigration judges and asylum officers, and would also prioritize certain cases. Cornyn calls the bill a good start. Overwhelmed is also how former President George W. Bush describes the border situation. But he says he's found a way to elevate the immigration dialogue to a more compassionate debate by using his artwork. Mr. Bush has a new book called Out of Many, One. It's a compilation of 43 of his portraits, all of immigrants he met who came to America for a better life. And he spoke to our Meredith Land about it in Dallas.
I think that's the thing that carries, it's the stories.
One by one.
You know, Tyra Suzuki's a Dallas girl, SMU grad. She grew up in a refugee camp in Thailand.
President George W. Bush, through his craft,
I met every one of them.
Tells a story.
Well, I'm worried that, you know, by leaving Afghanistan, the Royas of Afghanistan could suffer.
Of struggle and then perseverance in America.
He's an awesome guy. Shabani came from Turkey and started his own business. My message is, let's look at each immigrant here in the country and honor them as a child of God. And let's recognize the powerful influence the newly arrived can have on our soul.
This issue, you're dropping a book at a time where this is a very hot issue right now, right? So is the timing good or is the timing a little tricky
I think the timing's pretty good because people are paying attention to the issue. Nothing's going to get fixed quickly down on the border. Matter of fact, the whole system is overwhelmed.
There are 11 million immigrants in the United States, and President Bush says they should be given a gradual path to citizenship that's earned through background checks and service requirements, all while maintaining a secure and efficient border.
It's going to require the president reaching out to Republicans. It's going to require Republicans being willing to be reached out to. But it's really a legislative solution that needs to happen.
Images of children arriving here alone, he says, affects him.
I can't imagine the human condition being so bad that a mother is willing to allow their teenage kid or young kid to be put in the hands of a coyote and shipped across the border.
And that's why he's using his spotlight to introduce people like Tina Tran, who fled Vietnam by boat with her family, was hijacked at sea by pirates, and today is an American citizen and executive at Microsoft.
When you come here, there's going to be some struggle, and you're going to have to work really hard. You're going to have to ask for help and be comfortable with asking for help.
Tran, now the muse of an American president, on the wall in his presidential library.
So where's Tina? Come here, Tina. I want a picture about your painting. I made you look like a movie star.
Oh, stop.
E pluribus unum, out of many one. And it's not a slogan, it's a recognition about the power of America.
Meredith Land in Dallas. Sadly, getting the legislative branch on board with a more compassionate process seems a bit far-fetched these days. We recently asked Lubbock Congressman Jody Arrington about the former president's recent call here to change our thinking about all this, and here's his response and more of our interview for 5 good minutes.
Well, in my freshman term, we offered a fix for DACA, a legal status for those kids who were brought here by their parents. I thought that was good faith negotiations. We also provided a fix for the guest worker program for agriculture and other industries. But we had first and foremost, Bryan, we had prioritized security, and we prioritized enforcing our laws and closing the loopholes and getting the immigration system to work for our country and for for our country's values in the future. But we didn't have any takers from the Democrats, not one. So we've tried to put that out there in good faith. No Republican and no lawmaker worth their salt should ever come to the table until the Democrats and lawmakers of all kinds are serious about securing the border and enforcing our laws first. The American people's interests ought to come forward first. That's the oath we take. And we're not seeing that fulfilled from the top down. And so I appreciate getting the tone right. I appreciate the rhetoric. We welcome all freedom-loving, God-fearing people who want to make their homes in this country, okay, and have a better life for their families. But they have to respect our sovereignty. They have to respect the safety of our citizens and our laws. And the millions of people waiting in line are being undercut by this ever-expanding illegal immigration racket that is actually enriching the drug cartels who are in control of the border. So I would part with President Bush. As much as I love him and respect him, I haven't seen the will from Democrats to actually do the things that need to be done to stop illegal immigration, secure the border, and protect the American people.
Lubbock is voting on essentially banning abortions here, knowing that this will bring lawsuits and hoping this eventually gets to the Supreme Court and they will take another look at Roe v. Wade. What's the real talk in D.C. about the makeup of the court now, and if a change in federal abortion law is really possible these days?
I think you're going to see the court as it is today, which is a more conservative court. I don't think I'd give the Chief Justice high points as being a constitutionalist, but the majority still lean sort of originalist and contextualist. That means they are conservative, which means I don't believe any of them think it was the constitutional thing to do, the right thing to do, to not allow states to restrict or even ban abortions. So, and in fact, I'd go even further to say that they would, I think many of them believe that an unborn American has the same rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness as people outside of the womb. But those are things that will be vetted by the courts, and I think in time you're going to see more deference to states at a minimum.
The verdict in the Derek Chauvin case in Minneapolis seems to have been taken very well by people here. The president and others calling it a good step forward. The local NAACP president says this is a smart move forward. Where are you on sort of an all-encompassing need to change policing policies in this country, even amid calls for violence in the streets if bad things do happen?
Brian, I am for making sure we have the utmost integrity in policing. Law enforcement officers have a lot of power over the citizens, and there's a lot of trust there. So there should be a high bar of expectation and accountability. But we don't need to federalize policing, and we don't need to do what many Democrats are calling for, which is to defund policing, or what many Democrats have enabled, which is rioting, lawlessness, and more crime and violence in the streets of our cities. We need to get rid of the bad guys. I mean, this officer Chauvin clearly had a record as a bad cop, and now they've gotten rid of him, and he should be a good riddance, because the 99% of the good guys who are brave and honorable and serve with the highest integrity, their character is impugned because of the 1% of the bad guys.
Lubbock Congressman Jody Arrington, always busy and always good enough to take time for us when we need some questions answered. We'll talk to you again soon, my friend. Keep working for us, and you guys have a good one.
God bless. Thanks, Brian.